Yesterday, what type of form did we learn how to write in? Ella. Slope-Intercept Form. Yep. Today we're going to learn general form. And then on Monday we're going to learn another form after that. General form is an equation that looks like this. So you have an x value plus a y value plus a constant. There can be coefficients in front of the x and the y, and the coefficients can't be fractions, they can't be decimals, and the one in front of the x can't be negative. So you're looking for whole numbers that are positive. B and C can be negative. That's okay. A cannot be negative. Okay. This. What type of form is that in? Slope-intercept form. So, to convert something from slope-intercept form into general form, you have to somehow get that y to the other side of the equation. For this one, it's easy. Just subtract y. So it would be 0 is equal to 5x minus y minus 8. Nice and easy. I just subtracted y from both sides. Yes, Josh? You can't have a negative in front of the x. B. A little bit trickier. What's the first thing that you notice that we're not allowed to have? Fraction. So the very first thing you have to do is get rid of that 3. To get rid of that 3, you multiply everything else by 3. So it becomes 3y is equal to 2x plus, what's 7 times 3?
21.
Wow, thanks. You guys are great. Once you've gotten rid of the fraction, it's just as easy as part A. What do we have to do again, Carter? Yeah, subtract our 3y from both sides. So the left side will be 0, 2x minus 3y plus 21. Nothing crazy, hey? Very good. I did. So if I multiplied a 3 up here, the 3 divided by the 3 would cancel each other out. Yeah. So I did multiply it by, it just divided itself out. That's a good question. The next one is even harder. We have negatives and we have fractions. Good observation, Joe. Let's get rid of the fractions first. It's easier to get rid of the fractions right off the bat. Which fraction do we want to get rid of? The 4 or the 5? We want to get rid of both. Let's do the 4 first. It doesn't matter which one you do first. If you're really good at understanding our earlier units and you remember lowest common multiple, you want to find the lowest common multiple between those two numbers, and they would multiply in easily. I'm going to do it just one step at a time, because I think that might confuse some people. So, let's get rid of the 4. Multiply everything by 4, and you get 4y is equal to negative 1x plus 4 times 3 is 12, and it's still divided by 5, because we haven't dealt with 5 yet. And it's still negative, yeah? So we'll have to deal with that in a bit, too. Did I lose anybody on that? Yeah. All right. Next step, let's get rid of the 5. So multiply everything by 5, and you should get 20y is equal to negative 5x plus 12. What's up, man? So we can have a negative. So if we took our y to the other side, we wouldn't do us any good, would it? Because we'd have a negative x. So if your x is negative, right here, it is, then you want to move everything on this side to the other side. These first two questions, we moved the y values because our x's were positive. This one, we want to move our x value because it's negative. And you'll see it'll change it to a positive. So we want to add 5x to both sides. And we want to subtract 12 from both sides. And it's equal to 0. If you write something in general form, it always has to be equal to 0. Any question on that? That's as hard as changing from slope to general will ever get. Kayla. Yep, constant can be a negative sign. The only one that can't be negative is the A.
What do you use this equation versus the slope?
So they might give you equations in general and then tell you to convert it into slope. So we're just going from slope to general because we already know what slope is. So you can convert both ways, right? General is also nice for if you're trying to get things to be equal to 0. Because if something's equal to 0, then we can factor out the other side really easily, which gives us another form later on. Matthew.
You get the same answer.
Yep, you'll get the same answer. And if you recognize that the lowest common multiple was 20 and multiplied everything by 20, you get the same answer. So, determine the slope and y-intercept of the following lines. They're not in slope-intercept form. So it's harder now, isn't it? Any ideas? Yep, put the 5y on the other side. That's a good start, Reagan. So 2x plus 25 is equal to 5y. We added 5y to both sides. What is it, Carter? Yep, divide both sides by 5 because we don't want 5y. So it's 2 over 5x plus 5 equals y. 25 divided by 5 is 5. All right. What's our slope, Matthew?
Oh no. That's 2.5205.
Correct. And what's the y-intercept? Right. And when we write y-intercepts, we write them as coordinates. Slope is 2 over 5. Y-intercept is 0, 5. All right. Try B. How are we going to convert that one into slope-intercept form, Josh? Subtract both 2y on both sides? Sure, that works. 2x minus 15 is equal to negative 2y. Works well for me. What's the next step? What do you think, Tyne? What should we do? Divide both sides by negative 2. So then you have 6 divided by negative 2x. And it would become negative 15 divided by negative 2. It's equal to y. 6 divided by negative 2 is what? Yeah, negative 3x. Minus a negative makes it a positive. And 15 divided by 2, we leave as 15 divided by 2 because it's not a whole number that comes out. It would just be 7.5 if you put it in decimal. Josh, okay. What is our slope, Dawson Downey? Which number gives us the slope? Yeah, the one in front of the x is the slope, -3. And the y-intercept again is 0, 15 divided by 2. We've got, oh yeah, Hannah. On B, how do I get that -2 to become positive? I divided both sides by -2. So I divided -2 here, divided -2 here, and it canceled out when I did -2 there. Which is why it's just positive y. Taylor?
So anytime you get a fraction form and you can reduce it, you have to.
Yep. Anytime you can reduce it, reduce it. So 6 divided by 2 is a beautiful number in 3. So yeah, change it. Alright, we've been given 2 lines. And we've been told they have the same y-intercept. Except this line is missing a b value. So we have to figure out what the b value is actually going to be. What do you think we need to do first? What do you think, Josh? Yep, so let's start with this line. And let's convert it into slope-intercept form. And subtract y, you can add 4y to both sides. So it would be 3x plus 8 is equal to 4y. All I did was I moved the 4y over. Now what do I have to do? St. Pierre. What do I have to do? Yeah, put away whatever it is that you're playing with. Okay, so then what's that big bright thing that's lighting up your face as you're texting on it? Okay. Go ahead. What do we do, Hannah? Divided both sides by 4. So it's 3 over 4x plus 2 is equal to y. Now let's do the same thing with the other one. So the first step would be to move that negative ky to the other side. It would be 5x minus 6 is equal to ky. We have to get y by itself, so what do we have to do? Divide both sides by k. So we would have 5 over k x minus 6 over k is equal to y. And the question tells us they have the exact same y-intercept. So what does k have to be for them to have the same y-intercept? What do you think, Maya? -3. Because -6 divided by -3 would give us 2. So the question is, what does k have to be so 2 is equal to -6 divided by k? What does k have to be? And Maya told us that the answer was -3. So if you were to sub in -3, you would get 2 is equal to -6 divided by -3, which is 2 is equal to 2, which is true. Any questions about that? No, Maya solved that by, I would venture to say, intuition. Is that correct, Maya? you can just recognize it. If you couldn't just recognize it, what you would have to do is multiply the k up and divide the k down. So it would be k is equal to negative 6 divided by 2, which happens to be negative 3. So if you couldn't just look at that and be like, yeah, negative 3, you can solve it algebraically by switching the k into 2. You can switch spots. Matthew?
Or if you just throw negative 6 divided by 2.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah. Just recognizing that it's negative 6 divided by 2. Okay. Which of the following is R? I guess it depends if they both or if they aren't. Perpendicular or parallel to that line. So, what does perpendicular mean again? What does the slope have to be if it was perpendicular? Yeah, but what do we call it? Negative reciprocal. And what does parallel mean about the slopes? It means they're the same. So if you switch these into forms, you should figure out whether they are or not. So let's do them quick. 3y is equal to negative 6x plus 1. You should get y is equal to negative 2x plus 1 over 3. This one you should get 2y is equal to negative x plus 12, which means y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 6. With that slope, we have to solve that too to figure it out, right? So that would just be 2x plus 9 over 4 is equal to what? If we were to change that one. Emma. So because this y was positive, what I did was I just left it on that side because we want our y to be positive anyway. So then I put my 1 over there, and I put my 6x over there. You could have done it the other way, but then you would have just been dividing by a negative. It would have got you the same answer. So, which one of these lines is parallel? Josh? So this one and this one are parallel? Why are they parallel? Do they have the same slope? No, they don't. They both have a slope of 2, but this one is negative 2. So it's going downwards at the same rate, which wouldn't work out. Yep. Would it be perpendicular? Nope. It's negative, which is good, but what is it not? A reciprocal. So I is neither. What about II? Is it parallel? It's not parallel because negative 1/2 is definitely not the same as 2. Is it perpendicular? Why is it perpendicular, Hannah? What's it called? What's it called if it's perpendicular? Negative reciprocal, which means you flip it and you do the negative. So the negative reciprocal would be 1 over 2, which just happens to be our slope, which is beautiful. So yes, it's perpendicular. That's our next lesson, which we will do at a different time.